Hi, this is Tina VanDerwerker with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices. I am here with Gabriel Frankewich from the Blade Doctor. How are you guys?
Doing well. Thank you for having us.
Good, thank
Excellent. So tell me a little bit about your business. I was reading some of the information that you gave me, and it just sounds, it's like not anything I ever thought was a thing, but I guess it certainly makes sense. So talk to me a little bit more about that.
With everybody, trying to make a dollar around here, one thing we don't want to do is throw stuff away. So we want to keep sharpening things and using things for the house industries, whatever we can. I don't know. Basically, I sharpen anything and everything that pretty much comes into the door. We take care of everything from barbers, salons, dog groomers, veterinary clinics, some industrial. We're trying to back out of that, but we deal with dental, periodontal, endodontal, orthopedic surgeons, podiatrists, and the surgical line will continue to grow. And I guess that's about it right there.
Basically, if it has an edge on it and it cuts, it can be sharpened.
Yeah.
And if I don't do it, I know someone I can have you send it to. So
Okay.
the ground for a lot of folks that can't do things by us, we go ahead and we send it to people who do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think about, sharpening my own little scissors or knives or whatever in the knife block that I have. But I guess, yeah, it makes sense with the salons and different, and then you've expanded even more to that. So that's pretty cool. What made you decide to do this?
Long story. When I was a kid, my grandfather had one of the big sandstone pedal wheels. That's very popular up here, but I'm from Georgia and we don't have them down there. But he's from here. And so it was like one of my favorite toys as a kid. And I used to sharpen the sticks to beat up my grandmother's plants and flowers. And one day when I found out you put a shovel to it and steel and it makes sparks, I was like, oh my God. So my grandfather decided to encourage me with a slight bit of pain that I wasn't supposed to do that. And he's like, well, if you're going to mess them up, we're going to teach you how to fix them. And so I started learning how to sharpen on a big sandstone wheel. And it just kind of grew a little bit here, a little bit there. And I did it for friends and family, just to play around with it. And then a bunch of my hunting buddies and fishing friends, he said, hey, sharpen this too. I'm like, okay. And it just kind of grew as a kid. Worked in a couple of restaurants, did it for them. And then when I moved overseas, I opened up my first business there. And it took off and it's actually still going. I sold it before we left and it's still going strong. And when I moved back here, we decided to rebrand and start over. And so here we are.
Nice. So how has it been starting over here? I mean, obviously it's different. You have a thriving business in one area and then you move and now you have to kind of start from square one. How's it going?
Well, I did a lot of advertising, which absolutely did no good. Nothing but a waste of money. I found that just Instagram, Facebook, my website, and word of mouth was the best advertising. And trying to keep it local within the community, trying to kind of encourage folks on this side to give you a shot and see how it goes. And then everyone's just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing! I can't believe it works so well. And we just kept on building. We started with just simple knives and gardening tools and built from there. When I was overseas, it was mainly working with knives, and at the end was a little bit of salon shears. And when I moved here, there was already a large company dealing with the restaurants, hotels, and catering halls and whatnot. So I decided just to go towards the salons and stay on that side of the fence, and it turned out very, very well.
Yeah, well, we do have a lot of salons in the area, so if you can if you can get into that niche, then that's a good place to be for sure. And what are some things that people don't know about your business?
Mostly that it exists.
We exist.
Yeah,
I find it very funny that I've been here for 5 years and all the things I've done to try to help out with kind of showing my skills off and where I've been, and people still walk up almost on a daily basis. Oh my gosh, I didn't know you were here. I live around the corner. I'm like, okay, here we are.
And now you know. And now you know.
We tried, branding ourselves so that we could be visible. We do, Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising. We try to stick to social media as much as possible because other marketing and advertising, we can't really get the radio because that's kind of expensive. but we
Right.
try to push our way through as much as we can, and it just doesn't seem like it's enough.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard because everybody's on social media right now, right? So,
Oh, yeah.
and you can't really pinpoint as many people as you could have before. So it is tough, those algorithms are constantly changing, so you never really know who's seeing your information. So,
Unfortunately.
yeah, you want to try to, but like you said, word of mouth, getting yourself out in the community, door knocking, the old fashioned way, introducing yourself, all those kinds of things, that works pretty well. And what is so beside, obviously it sounds like kind of getting business is a challenge. Are there any other challenges that you've had along the way?
Yeah, I've actually trained several people to help me. And I train people from across the US anyway who come in, fly in and actually train with me so they can go back to their locations and do the same thing. But finding people to actually work has been a bit of a challenge. I haven't been able to expand the way I want because I can't find people who actually will do the work for the sake of the client, not the sake of the paycheck.
Mm,
Because when you do something just for a paycheck, you normally you're half that's a good way of putting it. You're not putting your full soul into it and actually doing the job that they need.
right,
You're doing it, oh, I can make money if I do this much. But
right,
granted, there's a lot of other people out there that do sharpening on that same note. And that keeps me very much employed. So on the other side, I appreciate it. But I
yeah.
wish I could find someone to actually work with my business that puts everything they have into it. Because honestly, the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it.
Right.
And
We're really big on integrity, and when we try to find people who just want to do part of the work or not a good job, it weighs on the integrity of our company, and we can't let them stick around.
Right. Yeah, because it's your name. So, you're responsible
Exactly.
for their product. And if they're not doing a good job, and it only takes one person to give you a bad review, and then,
We know.
and I have enough people out there that just find reason to fuss. And we're like, well, actually, it's X, Y, and Z. And they go, well, no, it's not me. It can't be me. Obviously.
of course not.
And I'm like, well, obviously. So, there's always those out there anyway. So you don't want to bring in more than that, and you have to.
Sure. Yeah, you don't want to invite the criticism if you
Yeah.
can avoid it, for sure.
Exactly.
What goals do you have over the next year or so?
Well, we are expanding in our surgical realm. We want to start dealing with, well, right now, like I said, we're doing the dental, periodontal, endodontal, orthopedic surgeons, podiatrists. I'm hoping by the end of this year, we'll have OBGYN squared away, as well going into next year for oral surgery, plastic surgery, and then different variations of into the hospital work, into actual major mainline hospitals. Because believe it or not, anything in a hospital is used, it has to be sharpened. I mean, most people think, oh, scalpels, you're doing scalpels. No, we don't do scalpels. Scalpels are disposable. But it's everything else that cuts and pinches and pulls and twists and everything else inside the body that has to be sharpened. So we want to start facilitating that as well.
Yeah. Well, that would be amazing. And, like you said, if you're sharpening it, you're saving money because you're not throwing things away and
Correct.
That kind of stuff. So
one of the other great things about sharpening, we provide the on-site service for most of the things that we sharpen. And it'll save the companies not only time and money, but they won't have to wait for their stuff to come back if they ship it out. They can have more time with their patients or their customers or their clients. And it's just, we do it right there on site. You don't have to worry about, well, where is my stuff going? Is it going to come back in the right condition? Is it going to be lost in the mail? It's all right there.
And they save money because they don't have to worry about having 4 or 5 sets on hand to make sure they're rotating it out. Right. They can have 1 or 2 and it just gets done that day. It never has to leave their premises.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to ask if it's something that they send you or if you go there or they drop it off or whatever.
I have a mail-in service, and I have several different industries that mail stuff to me from all over the U.S. As a matter of fact, I got lawnmower blades in yesterday, which was crazy, from Indiana.
Oh my goodness.
Really? Lawnmower blades, okay, well, we do those too, but sure. Very heavy box. But
that must have cost a pretty penny to ship that.
It does, and I'm just like, okie dokie. Well, and honestly, there's so many places around the U.S. that don't have either qualified sharpeners or sharpeners at all. I mean, Vermont, I get calls from Vermont on a daily basis going, would you please come up here? I'm like, I no, these gas prices, I can't do that. But
Right.
no, it's I don't know. There's a lot of ways we're looking to expand, but we're trying to work it out as slowly as possible without drowning in the same process of causing too much work to come in.
Yeah, you don't want to overextend yourself because it's going to take time to train somebody and try to find somebody that you can train. And then if you get too over your head, then the quality or the time in between, can suffer.
I'm famous for losing time with family because I get overwhelmed. I get too much stuff coming in, and I'm like, well, I'm sorry, guys, I gotta work. So that's why we cut back on a lot of the different things we're doing. I sold a lot of different machines because I'm like, I'm losing family time. So I want to maintain that as best as possible.
Yeah, you want to make sure that you're allowing, it's hard as an entrepreneur and a business owner to have that work-life balance for sure. So you definitely want to make sure that you get that as much as you can. So what made you decide to move to the area? Because you were out of state and then you came to this area. What made you pick the area that you're in?
Well, I'm actually from here. I was born and raised here. My parents live in Glenville. I was a Burnt Hills graduate, and I joined the military when I was 21. He joined the military, and we actually met in South Korea.
I'm from Georgia.
Wow.
From Georgia.
Okay.
And we have been married 22 years, and in those 22 years, we've lived all up and down the East Coast. We lived overseas for a little while, and it didn't quite work out overseas the way we expected. And so my family from here, I asked them, and they helped us come back home. So we came back to this area with the help of my family, and we got the kids settled down in Burnt Hills, which was very weird. I didn't think that they were ever going to be in my school district. So it was a little strange at first.
Yeah.
And we just started over.
Yeah. Well, it's always, I mean, again, it's important to have the family around for that support to try to, get you back on your feet and stuff. So what kinds of things do you like about the Burnt Hills schools or the Glenville area?
Oh, we love the school. I mean, the school was great when I was growing up, but now, I mean, because we came from overseas, when we lived overseas, we wanted to immerse the children, and they were, quite young. This is like 6-7 years ago. And so we immersed them in the language, the culture, and we kind of ignored the English aspect of things because we wanted them to be immersed.
Yeah.
And so when we moved here, they were a little far behind educationally. And Burnt Hills really took them under their wing, gave them some special education, gave them everything they needed. And in the first 2 years of being here, my kids went from barely being able to read English to getting A's and B's in school. So I really can't say enough things about how wonderful the school has been for my kids.
Yeah.
And they've really just built them up wonderfully.
Yeah.
We love the area. I mean, it's centrally located. We got Saratoga just a few minutes north of us. We've got Albany a few minutes south of us. And everything is just right here, easily accessible.
Yeah. Why do you think it's important for people to shop local and support their local communities?
I think it's great to be able to have a community, and the more you work in the community, the more you shop community wise, you are able to meet new people. And when there's trouble, when there's something you need, you can actually rely on your neighbors. Problem is nowadays everyone is so disconnected because of the internet and so disconnected because of online shopping. There's no personability between people. People don't know folks. I'm from the place that when you drive down the road, if you don't wave at somebody who's walking, they will literally come to your house and be like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay? Did something in your life happen? Do we need to make you a cake?" And here people look at you like, "What? Do I owe you money?"
Right.
And I'm like, "I just wanted to say hi."
Yeah.
And I think we're losing that a lot. And that's why I think shopping local is so important, because you get to meet face-to-face people, and it's so much better for them and for you.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the social media is supposed to keep people social, but it really just, kind of keeps you in your bubble. And then in your phone or whatever your device, and
Kind of
you know,
zombifies everybody.
A little bit.
yeah, there, you don't get to go outside and meet your neighbors and, you know, all of that stuff that they used to do years ago. What else? So sounds like you work a lot. You're trying to get that work-life balance. So what kinds of things do you enjoy when you're not working?
I love the outdoors. I love to hunt, fish. I'm not too big in the winter sports yet because being from Georgia, we don't have a lot of that white stuff. And so that's a little bit daunting and difficult for me on that side, but I'm getting there. I love trees. I love planting trees. I like helping. I manage a piece of property over in Charlton, and it's all about how can we help wildlife. I mean, I'm part of Ducks Unlimited to help with wildlife conservation. I love the outdoors. I love being um, as much as I love my sharpening, it's about as much as I love my outdoors, and it's very, very, it runs neck and neck for me. Whatever I can do to help in the community, or with any kind of preservation, I try my best to always be there and have a helping hand with them. So I mean, I don't really do a whole lot outside of that. There's a lot of things I do like, but they just don't quite match up with how I feel about the outdoors. And I love canning and jarring, and I'm all scratched up right now from picking blackberries. I had me and the kids out the other day on one of the properties out there. We bring them home, we juice them up, and then we make jellies and jams out of them. And if I can share, I try to share it with like holiday baskets for people.
Yeah.
Again with the community part, but staying with the outdoors thing.
And I haven't bought jelly in over 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you're making your own, that's the best stuff. So you don't want to go to the store to do it. Well, thank you guys so much for meeting with me today. It's been great to get to know both of you and your business. So this is Gabriel and Tricia Frankewich, and I am Tina VanDerwerker with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.